A woman from Denver was starting to do the responsible thing for her future. She says that was what she was doing, and then it turned into a nightmare because someone got into her bank account and drained $7,000 of her savings.
Well, she tried to dispute what were fraudulent transactions with her bank, but she was getting nowhere there. But then she called Steve on Your Side. A 9 News consumer investigator Steve Steger checked in with her bank and a consumer attorney who works on cases just like this.
Yeah, Tom, Kim, there is a federal law that protects consumers from liability for unauthorized transactions from their bank account. I contacted Megan's bank to see why her case didn't apply. Then all of a sudden things changed.
So I'm trying to think about my future and start to make responsible decisions.
Megan Holt was starting something I wish I did when I was 29. She started saving.
I decided to open up a high-yield savings account through SoFi. I'm just putting money in. I'm not using the card to go and purchase anything else, so it's strictly just for savings.
It was all going great until it wasn't.
One day I get a call from the bank and they share with me, hey, there are some odd transactions happening on your account.
Megan logged in and found a lot of odd transactions.
They had done 19 transactions between $100 to $900. They did it almost like every day.
The total made her jaw drop.
$7,363.
You have that memorized.
Yep, I have it engraved in my head for sure.
More than $7,000 transferred to the same person.
I just said friend-to-friend transfer to this person that I have never heard of before, for sure.
Not a friend.
No, definitely not a friend of mine.
Megan disputed the suspicious transactions with SoFi, which immediately shut the account down and started an investigation.
Do you have any idea how these people accessed your account?
I have no idea. All I know is that on the same exact day, someone tried to hack into one of my other bank accounts, my credit union.
SoFi's investigation didn't really discover what happened either.
They come back to me and say, hey, this looks legitimate, so you're not getting your money back.
But it's not legitimate.
No, it's not. They said that it doesn't look like there was a struggle to get into the account, to get the password and get in.
Well, the law says that the consumer is not liable for unauthorized electronic funds transfers. The financial institution is liable for an unauthorized electronic funds transfer.
Dan Vedra is a consumer protection attorney in Denver who works on these bank fraud cases regularly. He says the Federal Electronic Funds Transfer Act protects consumers like Megan when things like this happen. The problem is schemes like this are increasing and banks are getting a bit overwhelmed.
There are so many electronic funds transfers and there's so many of these unauthorized transactions going on each and every day that they don't have the manpower to reasonably investigate every single dispute that comes through.
Steve on Your Side reached out to SoFi to see why Megan wasn't protected by the EFTA in this case. And wouldn't you know it, the bank told us they reinvestigated her case, found new information, and reversed their decision.
They have an obligation to investigate the dispute, to conduct a reasonable investigation to determine whether the funds transfer was authorized or unauthorized, and they have an obligation to credit your account back if it was unauthorized.
So Megan told me this week that SoFi called her and she's getting a paper check for $7,800. She's going to get that interest that she lost out on. SoFi told me that keeping members' money safe is a top priority, and they encourage people to report suspicious transactions right away. Under the EFTA, you have 60 days to dispute suspicious transactions when you find them. Megan did it the day the bank called her about that suspicious activity. I'm Steve Steger, Steve on Your Side, 9 News.
It's not fair to speculate, but they're saying all the right things at SoFi. They weren't doing all the right things, though. I mean, is this something where you really have to be a pushy consumer or feel like you have to shove them into the right place?
And you need to know what your rights are, right?
Yeah.
You know, I reached out to SoFi and specifically asked about the EFTA. So kind of educating yourself on what the law says in these cases can help. You know, Megan did everything right. She reported that. She disputed it right away. She also called the police and has a police report going. In fact, they're still working on that case. She just sent me an update this afternoon and said the detective contacted her and said that they've tracked where that money went to a bank in Miami. They're now forwarding a lot of that information down to the Miami Police Department to try to see if they can track things down. But this was months and months ago, so who knows if they'll have luck finding that. The good news is Megan now being made whole.
SoFi spent all that money on that fancy stadium.
Oh, different area maybe, but yeah. Okay.
Make it up somehow. Steve, great job.
Thank you.